This is Karen, and I work at Colchester Mills Fabric and Quilting, and I'm the long armer in the store, and I do a lot of bindings. So today I'm going to show you how to do a binding with the corner clipper ruler, okay? So let's go to the machine. Okay, so when I begin putting on my binding, I always leave a small tail before I start stitching. So when I go in here and I'm going to start stitching my 1/4 inch down, and what I want to do is leave a 1/4 inch, put a pin there, and I'm going to stitch and bring my needle right to that pin. Okay, when I get it there, when I get it there, you can just snip that, take it out of the machine, and then you want to turn your quilt. So you turn your quilt and you're going to bring your fabric, you're going to make a 45 and you're going to bring it straight up because you want this straight line. You don't want to go past. If you go past, your corner is going to be too pointy. If you go under, your corner is going to be rounded. So to make a nice mitered corner, you want to make sure that's straight, one continuous line where there's no edge there, a bump in the edge. Then you're going to take and bring it down, and you're going to make a fold, and that fold is going to be right on the top, exactly like that. And you're going to pop it back in the machine, and you're going to stitch on down to the next corner. Now, some people like to pin. I'm not a pinner. I'm more of a finger pinner. But if you need to pin, by all means, pin. Again, we're going to take about a 1/4 inch from the edge. We're going to put our pin in there. And we're going to put the fabric down. And we're going to stitch right to that pin. Pop that out again. And turn your quilt first. When you turn your quilt, one more time, we're going to move our tail up. So we've got a 45. That 45 is right to the edge, makes a nice straight line. I'm going to bring it down on that fold across the top, pop it back in, and stitch on down some more. Look for our pin. Put that pin in there. Lay our fabric. Back out. So you get to see all these corners go together. Pin back in there quick. And one more corner popped up like that. Back down. Okay, so now we've done our 4 corners, and we're coming along up to the edge of where we began. So we're going to take that out of the machine. When we take it out of the machine, we have our 2 tails here. Get rid of some of this thread. We're going to cut an end off our tail. Okay, and you want this piece to come from your binding, so it's the exact width of your binding. Because sometimes you're going to be doing a 3-inch possibly, or a 2 1/4, but the standard size is 2 1/2. So this is 2 1/2. So when I lay this here, I'm going to take this one tail and lay it across this vertical piece, and I'm going to snip that tail off just on the edge of my sample binding. Then I'm going to put this one across here. Same thing, I'm going to trim it right on the edge. It's important to stay the width of your binding. Don't go over, don't go under, because it won't fit. Pull that back out, and now you have your 2 ends of your binding. You're going to put one over the other like this. Match them up. By the way, this is how you join all of your binding pieces together. You're going to put them right sides up, one on top of the other, right side up, and then you're going to take your ruler, and in your ruler, you're going to look for, there's the 2 1/2. It's important that you get that little notch on the end. So when you put your ruler down, you're going to line the ruler up with that little line here and there. That's what's going to give you a flat notch at the top, and you'll have a notch here. So then you're going to cut that off. When you cut it off, then you're going to take your binding, lay it open, and there's your 2 pieces and how they're going to be together. So you're going to now make sure that they're not twisted or anything, and then you're just going to lay one on top of the other like that. And you can pop a pin in there and see how you have a notch for this end to be able to match that end up. And then you have a notch for there. You're going to put that in your machine and sew a 1/4 stitch down, 1/4 inch stitch right down the edge of this. And now when you look, here's your binding. I usually take my binding, open it up, do a little finger press to make it lay a little flatter, and then you put your binding in it, and it lays perfectly on the edge like that. Put it back in your machine and stitch, and then match that edge up. And there you go. And now you can't tell where your binding began or ended. Now you have the option, a lot of people take it, hand stitch it down, or you can machine stitch it down, whichever you prefer. But that's how we put a binding on with the corner clipper ruler from Creative Grids.